what if I want to run Playwright not in TypeScript, but in Python? Here in this video, we discuss exactly how to do that. And to aid that, we'll also use Chatgpt to give us a quick way just to do that. But you can use also the documentation. So let's dive into. Okay, here we wrote a script in ChatGPT that help us understanding how to go in order. So first thing, you need to create a folder where the project will be started. So decide on your PC which folder to where to create your folder, or use the command line to run the command make dir playwright pytest demo. Myself, I created a project in somewhere where comfortable to me in a section project, and inside I created a folder playwright pytest demo, and then run Visual Studio Code into that folder. So first thing, go to Visual Studio Code, then select file, open folder, and then select the project you just created. Just to show you, open folder, go to project, in my case is project, and then playwright pytest demo, and open. And then you can click this toggle panel to create the terminal, to show the terminal. And here you go. Step 2 in ChatGPT say to cd into that folder, but we did that already. If you created everything through command line, then you had to do make dir and this create the folder, and this instead it's cd to ensure that the path of the command line is into that folder. So we can skip that doing what I shown, and we can just do Python 3 minus m bam. Make sure to install Python first, otherwise this will not work. Install Python and make sure they are into the system variable. Okay, so let's run this command, and we will see that, which already did, that it failed. In ChatGPT, it advised to use this command instead to run, and now it will work. Okay, now let's follow the next. Let's run this command to activate the environment, the VENV, virtual environment. So let's go here and let's do that. And it failed. And we check why it failed. It failed because we used the Mac commands, but we're using in this tutorial Windows. So just ChatGPT and error, and that's all it. So copy this command, go back to Visual Studio Code, and run this one. Then /scripts /activate that bat, and it worked. Okay, now we can run the command pip install pytest asyncio and playwright, which are fundamental for our. We paste it and run, and it will start install. Okay, once it completes, you can run the command npx playwright install, which will install playwright into that folder that you created. So then you create yes to proceed, and it starts. And now, as you can see here, hopefully you can see, there is a structure that it created for the scaffolding. You can create a folder test with inside pages, and test with inside pages, and you can create conf.test.py, which is a file of configuration which the repos which Playwright understand automatically is the configuration file to apply to all the test files, and the requirement file which contain potential installation to be done. Okay, once we have set up the repository of Playwright, what you have to do is to set up the virtual environment in Python. so to the folder you wish to work on. Once you get into that virtual environment, you need to cd in that virtual environment. And then next, you need to install the libraries which are the most important to Playwright. These libraries are Playwright and Cincho, the Cincho library, which is the one to allow asynchronous operation in Playwright. So we did that, we covered that before, how to install those. And we need to install Playwright, which we already did with the help of Chatgpt. Now we need to scaffold the application. Generally, I like to have the folder common and pages separate from the test. This because I want to keep the config files, the reusable of elements inside the common folder. Instead, I want to have the test and with the modules, so the test that I want to run divided by modules inside the test file as it is done here. While in TypeScript, we have the Playwright config file, which contains the configuration, basic configuration of Playwright. In Python, we have the conf test file. As you can see here, we have the library which we installed, and we have the configuration of the fixture, which contain the logic of running the browser in Chromium, which is headless, false by default, the instantiation of the page. You can do a lot of other things. Check documentation to see more about that. You can now finally create inside test cases, or you can call it whatever you like, a file called test underscore one. Why test underscore is important is because if you call it differently, if you don't call it test underscore, it will fail. So make sure to call your test underscore, whatever you like as a name. As you can see here, we create something very simple. We import PyTest. We import the page object model, which you can call whatever you want. We call it home page, but in reality, maybe I should rename it to test to another things, basically. Actually, we'll do it soon. But the concept is that I used PyTest to call asynchronous operation, and then we can call the sync to the method that is def in Python, which and whatever name, and which is pages. We call the object on page in this way, and we run some operations. Then let's change it because we don't want to call it home page. Let's call it test page, which means we will call test page also here. Obviously, this will fail until we don't go here, and one we change this to test page, but also we rename the file to test page to be aligned with the rest. Test page file, and obviously because we changed the name, we change it also here. So here we again in page from the sync API. We call the class in this way, class test page. In Python, the constructor is called for init with self, which is the this if you compare with TypeScript, and the page as an object of page. And obviously you call instead of this in Python, you call self. Consider it the correspondent. And because we are testing a page in Playwright, we call self.url with URL I set up in advance. And then because what I'm doing is to go to the search of Playwright. I'm going, for example, in the locator page. I'm clicking to the search bar, I'm digiting something and going into that page. That's it. I'm doing something super simple. We're just planning to run our first test in Python. So that's what I did here. I called the search input by the placeholder, which is called search docs. How that is possible? You go to inspect, click to this little icon, and then select the placeholder, and you will see once you get here, you will find that there is a placeholder somewhere. So first of all, we call the array label, but somewhere inside, we should have a placeholder. can see here that we have an area label of search. So you can click on that, and once you click, you get to this page. And it's here that you can search. You will have a placeholder called search docs. And it's from here that I get the data. So first of all, I get the area label, which is to get here, which was called search ctrl plus k. And then I select the other label. So I go to the project. I make sure to write self dot search menu, we want to call it, which is called exactly like that. It is Copilot is helping me on that. And then the search input, it will be called like that. So first thing, we can now abstract the search. Instead of calling this, we will call search menu dot click self dot search menu dot click. The search input get the placeholder. As you can see, what we do is we click the menu, then we fill the correct new placeholder with whatever we want, and then we press enter. That's what it does. But initially, we go to a specific URL, which will be self.url. So we can add here URL as a string, which initialized by none. We don't have to do anything. And that's it. That's what this does. Make sure to indent correctly, then go to the test. And what we did here, we call test as a test page. We can then change this to test or with whatever you like. And we need to insert the URL, which, okay, it advised the correct one because I was working before. The URL, self.url, can also modify with whatever URL I want, but I'm searching this, go to this and search, mouse click, because query is what we are filling with. And that's what will be written, search, mouse click. Now we can run the test with the command Python -m Pytest. If we run it, will run it automatically, and it passed. That's it for today. I hope this was useful for you. I invite you to use ChatGPT when you get errors to find out the solution, and also to use intensively the documentation. Please consider to like, comment, subscribe if you have any comment. I would ask you guys who is expert about Playwright with PyTest. How do you run the UI mode? I was trying to run the UI mode. It seems like not built for PyTest, but maybe you have a different way to run the same UI mode which we run in TypeScript, which allow time traveling. And this is something couldn't find a way to run it in PyTest, but it will be fantastic to know if that is possible. Let me know in the comment and see you in the next one.